Okay, she's good now, I think.
Hey there, welcome to Art School Dissections, where we take pencils and scalpels to get to the bottom of truths about art school and the art industry. My name is Peyton. I also go by Broken Jaw, and I'm here with
Maddie, and I go by Mad Gapart.
If you'd like to take a look at our credentials, we'll have all our socials and portfolios listed in the description. If this is your first time joining us in our studio, we're a couple of art school grads who are trying to make sense of life and art after art school. This year, we are talking about classes.
This year.
Is
that for the whole year? Yeah.
Oh, this week. I mean, we talk about classes all the time, so technically
for the past year, that's all we've discussed. Nothing else.
Yeah.
But just we're giving you a hard time.
I can't read, so there is that.
You're fine.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I try.
Yeah.
We're kind of just be going over basic descriptions of the classes we took during our time at school, and be going way more in depth in future episodes on like specifics.
Mm-hmm.
Because we could talk forever about these if we lit ourselves, so we are dialing it back.
We're dialing it back, but we'll dial in here soon. I just forgot I was on camera for a second. Stared intently at my thumb. So we titled this In the Bowels of Art School because we're gonna go. I don't know where I was going with that, but
we're going into the core of it.
The core.
The classes are what make your time at school.
If it's crappy or not.
Yeah, because they totally change the trajectory of all of it.
Oh,
the people you meet, the professors, the friends, the different skills that you learn. Like, it
absolutely matters.
It controls everything.
Which, like, I didn't realize while I was in it. I was just like, oh, yeah, I need this to graduate, so I'll take it. And then other ones, it was just like, oh, this looks fun. Mm-hmm. And that is a good enough reason to take a class.
Or this is the one my friends are taking. So
yeah,
that's what I'm taking.
That's also a good enough reason.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we're gonna talk about what we took and why, whether it was like requirements or personal choice, and then kind of breaking them down, not too in depth, but kind of just giving you like little bits and pieces of what we did in certain classes. Mm-hmm. And for people who have not gone to art school, we're going to be kind of, letting you know the meat of these classes.
Ooh, yeah, the meat and potatoes.
The meat of them.
Ooh.
Like, your core classes and stuff, mm-hmm. and things you don't think you'll need, but you do.
Yeah. Just like, this is actually what you do at art school. This is actually what's expected of you, what you can expect to learn. Just a couple of gals' experience. We're just going to go into what we did and what we learned. And if you've already done this, if you've already went to art school, we also want to brush on what helped us from elements of those classes and kind of what didn't, and maybe some advice, things that we've learned going forward, and because that's what this is about. It's learning together and figuring out what we want to do and how we want to do it. Yeah, and kind of reminiscing on, this thing from this class actually did matter.
It actually did,
and
I'm using it today, and I didn't think I would. But, yeah, so we're going to start at the beginning.
Ooh.
It's freshman year.
Origin story.
Classes start. Hear the bell ring. Freak out. 8 a.m. classes.
Terrified.
So much coffee. And really bad food.
This is actually,
are you back? Are you teleported back to that time?
This is actually before the time I, drank coffee. I didn't drink...
Oh my.
Yeah, I know. I didn't drink coffee really until I met you.
Sorry. I'm so sorry.
I would just get the occasional frappuccino.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. And I would down a venti in 3 minutes. My life depended on it. It didn't. It probably shortened my lifespan, if anything.
Yeah. We're still here.
It's neither here nor there.
But, do you want to talk about your first couple classes at Ashland? Because you started somewhere else, and then we met each other.
Yeah. So my freshman year, because I'm a year older than Peyton, my freshman year, I went to Ashland University, and I was majoring in English and creative writing. And then the second semester, I decided I wanted to triple major, and I put on art in there too. I planned out my whole syllabus. I was going to be taking like 19 credit hours every semester just because I wanted a triple major. Because I was dumb. I was like, I can do this. And then I didn't want to.
Well, because like you've never done it before.
I didn't know the context. I didn't know what 19
so
credit hours meant.
Oh, that's long as we doing that. It'll be fine.
Yeah. I took 19 credit hours 2 semesters my whole college career, and I was not pleasant to be around. I was just a mass.
You were very unhappy for quite a while.
I was. So, don't recommend doing that. But I did learn some like really awesome things at Ashland. I took intro to like creative writing and poetry, and that really set a foundation and of writing. I still write. It's still something I really love doing, but I got me thinking, and that's what college is about. It's getting you thinking. And
Yeah.
I took such a weird variety of classes. Like I took honors physics, history of musical theater, religion 101, a random history class, color theory, an acting class. That was a hoot and a half.
Crazy to do that freshman year. When
Yeah.
You're not going into that.
Yeah, it was like I wanted to get my arts credits out of the way. I don't know why I wanted to get them out of the way my freshman year, but I did. So I was like, I'll just do all of them. And I mean, it worked out for me because I ended up going to art school.
True.
But I was like, why? Okay. What else did I do? Oh, yes. It wasn't technically a class, but I did do dance as well. I was in a dance, what's the word?
Troupe?
Kind of.
Okay.
It's like company. Their dance company. That was so much fun. And I spent about as much time there as I would a class. So, it was so different than art school, and I am glad that I had that experience because I did get things like physics, and I learned stuff about quantum mechanics, which I, definitely use on the day-to-day. But mostly I took away the writing skills, and really the few art classes that I did take really got me thinking, like, maybe I do want to switch gears and do something visual instead of verbal.
Mm-hmm.
And I decided to transfer after my first year, but that was kind of my freshman year. If you want to go into yours.
Yeah, kind of ours.
Oh yeah.
Because Maddie and I actually met the first class our first year at 8 in the morning.
It was so early.
It was so early, but it ended up being a very nice class. I mean, we were the only ones that talked in it, but
We were so smiley.
we were too early. We were too early. But yeah, for like CCAD, you start with your core art classes. So we had drawing methods. That's where you met, and like it's like supposed to be figure drawing, but we did figure drawing, but mostly perspective. Everyone had a different experience based on the professor they got.
Yeah.
It was interesting. Great class. We learned so much.
I loved it, and the professor too.
Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then we had intro to illustration, visual literacy, which is just learning the Adobe softwares.
Mm-hmm.
Going into Photoshop and Illustrator. I don't really think we touched much besides those two.
Not in Viz 1. I think we did one InDesign.
Yeah, we did InDesign, and you took Viz Lit 2 in your second semester. And yeah, you didn't even use like After Effects for animation. It was just Photoshop. So it really was just.
So it was just the big three.
It was, but it was like really
Holy
in-depth.
Trinity.
Yeah, and it was talking about color theory and all of that, and then your general like math, history, writing.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was homeschooled, so I didn't have those credits going into it, so I had to just get those out of the way. And then SOSA, I don't remember what it stands for.
You could have looked that
Something,
up.
something arts.
I'm assuming.
There was SOSA and SODA. SODA was design. So your ad graph, your animation was there. And we were with fine arts, illustration, contemporary crafts. I think that was it. I don't remember the actual premise for that class.
There was only 3 projects in
Yeah,
that class.
major class, like major projects too.
Yeah. And
But-
presentations, and that
And they
was
were
it.
broad,
Uh-huh.
like so broad. It was like, okay, I guess. I don't remember what it stood for. It was fine. But into our like the second semester freshman year is when COVID hit, so
Mhm.
all of that's kind of a blur. I
Yeah.
remember doing projects, like I don't remember much else.
We really only got half of that semester. The second half of that was not a joke, but kind of.
Yeah.
Everyone was struggling. Got to give grace, but it was like everyone had a hard time.
They were not prepared.
I mean, no one. How
At
could
all.
they have been?
I know. No
You
one
know,
expects to do
like-
art school completely online, especially when like, I mean, most of SOSA was traditional. I mean, you didn't have to, but like it was kind of, they wanted you to do a bit more. It was, they wanted it.
Yeah.
He didn't say it, but he wanted it.
It's like, oh, you have your computer out.
Oh, you're showing me a digital
Oh.
drawing.
Oh yeah, because you were trying out some like concept art, like stylistic stuff for one of the projects.
And he could not grasp it.
No, he wasn't very helpful.
No.
That particular
I was like-
arena.
All right.
He did tell us to always have separate bank accounts from our spouses, though.
I do remember that. You talked a lot about real estate.
Yeah,
A lot.
it's like, maybe it was a real estate class and we didn't know.
Is that what it stands for? SOSA? Real estate? Yeah. There's an S in there. It was interesting. And then we had entertainment design, which was also a very, very broad class. That was, we did perspective, we did character design, we did environment design, we did storyboarding. It was quite a bit. But I mean, like, I think those classes in the first year were where I took most of the skills that I still use today from. I learned a lot in those first couple classes.
Yeah.
I think I had the energy to absorb it in that first year,
You
too.
weren't burnt out.
Before COVID, before, getting into the really hard classes.
Well, I feel like you said, going broad at the beginning allowed for a foundation to be built. And I know a lot of people go in like, oh, I don't want to take these like core classes, I already know how to draw, like why am I doing this?
You
Like,
don't.
You don't.
Like,
You
no
do, but
offense.
you don't.
Yeah.
Like, normally if you go to art school you already have an eye, but you don't necessarily have the muscles in your hands and your arms, like in like your face. Like, it takes a lot of actual very specific motor movements in
Yeah.
order to do some of the things or to achieve some of the things that you want. And so it really takes practice and muscle memory, and those classes, that's what it was good for.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it was a lot of exploration.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I went into art school being like, I'm just going to do character design. Like the majority of the other illustrators, I'm just going to draw people and characters and stuff forever. And then I don't think I drew a single character my first year. Like,
Wow.
for any of my projects, I don't
Wow.
think any of them genuinely had, like, a character in it. And I did a lot of, like, prop stuff and a lot of environments, and I was like, this is so much better. This is so much better. It feels like, I used to hate environments and, like, buildings and stuff, and then I drew them and I was like, actually, can I do this forever?
I love buildings. I love architecture.
It's so nice.
It's so,
It's daunting at first, but, like, the human figure is way more daunting than drawing, like, a building. When you actually, like, break it down, the human figure is so hard to, like,
complex.
master.
yeah. But when you learn perspective, you can basically draw any building.
Exactly. Yeah.
Which
Biggest takeaway, do perspective as early as possible.
Yes.
And continue to practice it, like, constantly. I need to go back and practice it.
It actually helps with figure drawing too.
Oh, yeah.
Like perspective isn't just about environments. It's like putting people in those environments, and like if you pixelate a human, they're just basically squares, which is basically perspective. And if you also, if you haven't taken a perspective course, I didn't know what that was before I came to school.
Yeah.
Before I went to CCAD, I didn't know, like, what do you mean? Perspective, like, looking at someone from a different angle? No, it's like actually putting someone in a three-dimensional space, defining that space, and putting it in there.
And making it look realistic when it's just pencil and paper.
Yeah. That's a broad. Just in case you didn't know what perspective was, we've thrown that out a few times.
Yeah, we have.
I'll say, like, we did learn towards our last, like, year at school, respectively, that not all majors were required to take perspective. So if you're one of those majors that never had to dabble in it, take the time to do it. It's a lot at first. It's like, it's not necessarily like math, but it's a lot of geometry going on.
It is.
But, you know, you go from making cubes look 3D in a space to making organic figures and just shapes looking real in a space, and that's kind of cool.
It's satisfying.
It's really nice.
And if you like rulers, perspective is for you.
Oh my gosh, we have so many rulers from that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think in the studio space we have about 20 rulers.
Yeah, I just brought 5 yesterday, like the other day.
I found more. I was like, I don't need these at home.
They just keep popping up.
They do.
Oh,
Because
that's
then
funny.
you'll lose them. The see-through ones. With the, if you have them, you know what we're talking about. The see-through ones with the red lines, which are the best rollers to ever exist, number one, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think I have 3 of them because I kept losing them because they are invisible.
I don't know where mine is. Oh my god. Wait. I need to know where that is.
I have all of mine here, so.
I might borrow yours.
Yeah. Great rulers. Recommend. I think I kept one at home too.
Uh-huh.
But, yeah. Anyways, that's kind of like, that's freshman year.
Yeah, that's most of freshman year.
So you were going to say something about color theory.
Oh, yeah. About so that color theory class I took, it was primarily a painting class at Ashland, and I remember like being in that art studio until like 4 a.m. and I was the only one in the building, and I kept singing. Like, I have all of these videos of myself because the acoustics were just so good. I kept singing just the most, like, the same song over and over.
Oh my gosh.
And, yeah, so I have about 10 minutes worth of music on my phone, painting, 4 a.m. And that's one of my favorite memories
That's beautiful.
of Ashland.
I love that.
And, like, it was during those moments I was like, I want to do this all the time. And that's what got me to transfer
wow.
to CCAD. It's
Aw.
like, oh, I love this. Ooh.
This is it.
This is
That's so beautiful.
yeah.
Yeah.
Now we can move on to the next year, to when I was. Oh, this is weird because it's like disjointed because I am
Yeah.
like a year.
Well, I can
ahead.
just say my sophomore year.
Yeah.
And then you do junior, I do junior, and then just,
Perfect.
that works.
Because Maddie did graduate.
A year before me.
Mm-hmm.
We had the same freshman year technically because
Technically.
of classes.
Yeah.
And then she jumped ahead. Even though we like still kind of mirrored classes along the way, but it's just the different.
Yeah, there was just a
Title.
few. Yeah.
Well, you took extra classes in the end to make it all even out.
Yeah.
So,
So I wanted to graduate in 4 years, so I busted my booty. And I don't regret it, but oh, it was a lot.
yeah, just hearing you talk about it, I was like, I'm drowning in 5 classes. And you're over
7.
here. Yeah, it was a lot. Even just like watching, I'm like, whoa, you are strong. And tired.
I went a little insane. Insanity is strength. Sign me up for the Arnolds.
So like my technical sophomore year was all online. Thank you, Miss Corona.
And the tricky part about like that whole semester or whole year was we had been told we were going back in person until the very last minute. So I'd already signed a lease for an apartment. So I was like in a different space, which I'm glad about. No offense, mom and dad. I'm glad that I had like a separate space to do my work because it's really hard doing stuff from home.
Yes.
And I know you had to.
Yeah.
And
it was hard.
Yeah, it's the separation of like home and work is nearly impossible.
Especially in your childhood home.
Yeah.
Like, that was rough.
Yeah, I'm like, I didn't really want to be using the money to have an apartment, but it ended up working out.
Yeah.
So, it was fine. But most of the classes from that time are a bit of a blur. I took like 2 history classes, traditional media, so hard to do from home.
Yeah.
Could not get good photos, and they're like, guys, take better photos for us. I'm like, I don't have a good phone. I don't know what you want from me. I don't have a scanner or a printer or anything, and nothing is open.
Yeah.
Like, you literally had to just take pictures with like the Cam Scanner app, and that's what you submitted for anything that was traditional.
And, like, one of the benefits of art school is that a professional can look over your shoulder while you're making something and be like, hey, this can be done in an easier way.
Yep.
So having that being done online was just,
Yeah.
don't think I learned very much. Didn't get feedback till the end, really.
Yeah, nothing along the way. It was just you start it, you told them the idea, you moved on. Unless they had like stages set for you to like submit stuff. But then it was still about like putting more deadlines on you, sending in bad photos that they couldn't really judge from. It was a whole thing.
Yeah.
Took digital media, which was kind of like the step up from visual literacy, because you were using the same software, but you were now doing like your own kind of projects. More like advertisement and graphic design kind of projects.
Yeah, I was more of those.
Yeah.
It's like a mural mock-up.
Yeah, I didn't do pattern for that one. I know other people did, like, they had to do patterns, they had to do, they had to trace over, like, a Coca-Cola bottle to get better at the pen tool in Illustrator. So it was...
I hated the pen tool. I love it now.
It took so long to learn it.
But it's worth it. Y'all,
Yeah.
it sucks in the moment, but it is absolutely worth it.
And there's like free, I've learned there's free like quote unquote games online where you use like a pen tool and you try to get it as exact to like a shape that they have like an outline for, and it like grades you on it.
And, like, you pass and you go to the next level.
Nice.
So, I don't know what it's called. If I remember, I'll put it in the description.
Yeah,
But
we'll link it.
yeah, there's some really cool, like, graphic design games online that I think they're free. So,
That's a super cool resource.
yeah. Like, if you want to learn the pen tool, you don't need to go to college for it. Especially if you're using Adobe, you don't really have the money.
Yeah.
Because she said it's so pricey.
She is expensive.
But then we took, we had character and environment design. I don't think we took that one together, but we took it at, like, the same year. That was fun. I really did enjoy that class. That's when I, like, got to draw characters again. And it was really nice, and it was a wonderful professor that, like, gave you so much feedback and was harsh, but in the best way possible.
He wanted you to learn something.
And it's, like, the most I learned so much when I was in classes with professors like that, where it's like, I know you're doing this for my benefit.
Yes.
Like, you're not just trying to be an ass. You're trying to make me better.
I could have used more of that, actually.
Like, I love an easy grade because then I can, like, put work into the classes that are really hard. But I think I could have survived if a couple more of them were a little more brutally honest.
Yeah, I think I needed a little bit more tough love. I think everyone was... I don't know, I think I needed a little more realistic. Like,
Yeah.
now, like, looking back, I'm like, that's... my expectations of what post-grad was going to be from these classes were very different. So I think we could have benefited from a little more realism.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's some projects that I look back at from classes with a little more coddling that I'm like, that sucked.
Yeah.
Like, this looks bad, and I'm looking at it now, and I'm like, that was an easy fix.
Uh-huh.
Give me a bad grade, tell me how to fix it, and then we move on.
Yeah,
I'll grow.
Exactly. You'll learn from it. And
Yeah.
like, your future stuff will be something you're proud of.
Yeah. There's very, very few from my early, like, pieces from my early year that made it anywhere near my portfolio.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, and that's
No.
the point. You're supposed to grow from that, but I mean, even at that time, I was like, yeah, I'm not showing this off. This does not need to be seen. Which sucks.
I know.
You put so much work into it and hours into it, and just for it to be like, I'm deleting this file, and it's erased forever now. If it's digital. If it's traditional, it just gets stuck in a closet somewhere.
I have so many.
And then you find it later, and you're like, I need to burn this, but you're too lazy, so you just put it back in the closet.
Yeah.
I mean, there's something to be said about keeping those and looking back and seeing how much you've grown. But it's like, I could have grown more in the moment if you just had told me that it was bad.
Yeah. That happened a lot with the online time too,
Yeah.
because I know a lot of those professors retired, and they're like, they didn't have the resources to do it,
No.
and they probably just like, good enough, easy grade.
Yeah. Like, you turned it in, you did it.
Yeah.
That's it.
I took another perspective class, art business class, which was fine. Took self-promotion, which was great, but could have been like 3 classes.
It should have been 3 classes.
For like a basic summary, it was like making your resume, your CV, how to do interviews, making business cards, job searching, getting connections. It goes on. Like,
Yeah.
the list goes on of what we were taught in that class.
Yes, so much.
In a semester.
Mm-hmm.
Like, one semester.
It was basically like how to set yourself up for success in 1 semester.
It's like, I know.
I know,
I
like,
can't
that
do
should be a continual thing that should have gone throughout the entire. We should have taken at least 1 year, I think.
Absolutely. Yeah, it needed to be drilled into you, and it
Mhm.
needed to be in depth. And that, I mean, I loved that class, and I remember learning a lot in the moment, but when there's so much information, there's only so much you can retain.
Mm-hmm.
And luckily, Maddie saved a lot of the PDFs.
I downloaded those presentations.
Yeah, I did not.
It's like, I need this information.
Yeah.
For the love of God, please.
And I took a game design class, which was, how do I say, I hated it.
Such a light way to put it.
I learned a lot from myself and Google and Reddit, and I made a level of a video game by myself.
Whoop, whoop, whoop.
And did pixel art for the first time. Use new stuff and try new mediums when you can, but kind of gauge the class before you do so. If the class looks like it's going to be difficult and there might not be as much support as you think you're going to need, maybe stick to your guns a bit and learn new techniques, as opposed to diving headfirst into a completely new medium and new software.
All in a few weeks.
If you don't have that extra support to get you through it. Like, I'm glad I did it, because that's what I'm doing for my video game now. I'm using the softwares that I used in that class, so there is something to be gained from it.
Absolutely.
But it kind of was just me at the head of it, doing it alone.
That was a lot of that year. It was doing
Yeah.
it alone.
Yeah.
Which, like, I think for me taught me independence,
Mhm.
but it also, I could have used a hand to hold
Yes.
at that age, I think.
Yeah. And just that time in general, I mean, like, everybody just needed a little extra support.
Mm-hmm. Everyone was delicate.
Yes.
It was turmoil.
It really was. Trying to do school through all of that, and then not having the assistance that you needed through the classes. So when you're out of class, you're just sad.
Yeah, because it felt like the world was ending, and it was like, what am I doing this for?
Yeah.
I'm not getting... I had a lot of crazy evenings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a hard year.
Mm-hmm.
Junior year for you?
Oh, yeah. So, like Peyton said, we did take several classes together, like the drawing methods and entertainment design and SOSA and philosophy.
Oh yeah,
That was-
philosophy.
That got me thinking. I
little
it's
much.
supposed to, but I don't think I've told you this. This is so silly. So I had never read philosophy before this class,
Mhm.
but I thought, to quote Taylor Swift, how can someone know everything at 18 but nothing at 22? I thought I was such a big brain thinker at 18 years old. I was like, I am goddess divine. And so original, because someone one time, I just said something, and he was like, oh my god, what philosophy do you like to read? I was like, I don't know,
Wow.
this is how I think. And he said, oh my god, Maddie, you're a philosopher. And I'm like, okay.
Okay.
So then I took this class and I realized, no, I am not.
I'm not.
I am not. So, like, as annoying as some of those core classes are, like, it is important to take them and kind of get your head out of your butt. It's
Yeah.
like, I was a little bit of an obnoxious little gal, if that conversation told you anything. So, I was so silly. Reading that dense philosophy, it was kind of a nice break in between,
Yeah.
like, the other classes we were taking, like starting an art business and Bizlit 1 and 2 and all the stuff where you're drawing a lot. This was just like thinking in a different way, which was cool. But yeah, the later half of that, after it switched into quarantine, it was like, whoop.
Yeah.
But that was the end of sophomore year. You said junior year. Junior year, I did historical art and design. Oh, that one was cool. I forgot about that class. I wrote it down because, I have a list right here of the classes that I took, and I got to like research some old manuscripts, which was fun. So like the illustrations for old manuscripts, that's where I draw a lot of inspiration from now. So like even if you don't like history, like you didn't like history in high school or you didn't like it in college either, there is so much context that like there's visual context that can be done. It's not just like this old man did this a long time ago. It's like there's such beautiful things that were created and we got to learn about. And that was with like history of photography too.
That was a great class.
So good. And it reignited my love for photography too, because that's what I do now.
Yeah.
I do photography. But I mean, I've done photography since high school, but it was cool to just get some more context.
Mm-hmm.
I've said that word a lot, but
That's a good word.
it is like it's important. I feel like college is context.
Yeah.
And it kind of gives you a framework of what the world was and is, and just a sliver of it anyway,
Yeah.
which helped me. So while we were online, we did the illustrative figure drawing.
Oh, I forgot about that class.
Yeah.
That was a good class.
That was a really good class, actually. Actually got me drawing people again.
Yeah, and big. I had like giant, like big drawing papers with just charcoal drawings of people. That was so fun.
It was so fun and helpful. It was just an iterative. You're gonna learn the human form,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it was done as well as it could have been online. That was
Yeah.
probably one of my favorite online classes.
And that professor was like in multiple gallery shows.
Yeah, he's
at
cool.
that time. Love him.
He's so cool.
Maybe we should bring him on.
That'd be so fun.
He's so fun to
I
talk
know.
to. He's so cool.
What else did I take? Oh yeah, digital design lab.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
I did my-
that one too.
Yeah, I did my first iteration of my logo.
Yeah.
I've done several rebrandings of myself. And I think that's fun. It's like different eras.
You should not be afraid to do that.
No,
Don't-
definitely not.
Just because you're like, oh, I've had this logo or this brand for like a couple years, I have to stick with it. You don't.
You really don't.
No, no one's gonna forget who you are because you changed your logo.
They might actually pay more attention
Yeah.
now that you do have like a new face, a new, just like spruce yourself up a bit. You drew your eyebrows on, you know, like you had a fun time.
Yeah.
I just did a new business card last night, so
It's actually
it's important.
very important.
And fashion illustration, super cool. Pattern design, loved that.
Loved pattern design.
Loved that. And that was basically junior year for me.
Yeah.
So now for life and art updates. Just a little segment of what's actually going on in the lives of Peyton and I.
Yeah. A little break from our rambles about our things.
Rambles about our past.
Dark past.
So some dark days. And some bright ones.
Oh yeah, many. bright ones.
Many.
The last time we talked about kind of the big projects that we've been working on, my game and Maddie's tarot deck, and this week we're talking about
Franklinton
Fridays.
We did that in such like a.
It was not.
If that was
Ineligible? No. Illegible.
Yes.
Right.
Ooh, that's the word.
Thank you. We said Franklinton Fridays.
Yes.
ASMR real quick. Franklinton Fridays.
I don't even know how it's gonna sound.
I don't know.
That's fine.
So at the studio we're at in Columbus, we are in the middle of Franklinton district in Columbus, and they host every second Friday. I've said this 4 times now, Franklinton Fridays. And do you want to talk a little bit more about what it is?
Well, I don't know much.
We're gonna
This is
find
our
out.
first one. It's actually going to be tonight during like this recording. But from what we know, I think there's like outdoor vendors. There's a couple breweries like kind of next door neighbors to the studio, so I think they're going to be a part of it. It's kind of just like a community, like this community coming together and celebrating art and like the small businesses. Usually this building that we're in with all the studios is like locked, so just the artists can get inside, but they're gonna have the doors open, and from what I know, most artists are also gonna have their studio doors open, so people can come in, kind of see what you're all about, introduce themselves. You can sell stuff, buy stuff. Yeah, I mean that's what I've heard about it.
Yeah.
I have not been to one myself, so this will be a first time.
You're on the
So,
journey with us.
Yeah. Yeah. You're watching us. The studio is slowly getting, I mean, for our viewers who are, or our listeners, we've added a new chair, a temporary new chair, and we've painted the wall. So if you want to see that, you should check out our YouTube channel, because that's where we'll be showing it off. And we're going to eventually get more stuff. So
It'll become slowly more, how do I say, alchemist vibes.
yeah.
Alchemist, maximalist,
It's going to be bright. It's gonna be funky.
2000s, funky,
Yeah.
witchy, cool.
It's going to get so sick.
It already is.
It is.
I mean, because we're here.
You can't really see the rest of the studio, but it's coming together too. There's new furniture, new paint.
We're gonna do a tour.
Yes, we
We
will
will do a
tour.
studio tour.
And if you're local, Frank Lunch on Fridays.
Yeah, come by,
we'll
come
be
out.
here. Our door will be open.
We will smile and say hello.
A little awkwardly, probably. We are shy. I'm shy.
Yeah. I can pretend I'm not, but on a good day,
Yeah.
you know?
We'll see how it
We'll
goes.
see. If we are awkward, sorry.
Yeah.
If we aren't, you're welcome. So, you lucked out.
Congratulations. But yeah, that is the current life and art update.
Beep boop bop boop beep wap. We are musicians.
Alright, so I'm just gonna really quickly go over my junior year classes because a lot of these are going to be talked about way more in depth in the future episodes we have planned. So I took a comics class, which was awesome.
It was cool.
I loved it. I loved it so much. It kind of killed all of us that were in it. It was really hard. It was all traditional, besides like editing and like coloring in post, but all of it was traditional ink, and that was so fun and a great distraction from my computers and all that.
Yeah.
Big takeaway: digital art makes your life easier in terms of getting stuff done fast for your projects. But traditional is so good for your brain.
Feeds your soul.
It really
I
does.
think.
I really recommend a good balance.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know, like, for my junior year and my senior year, it was, besides like my traditional media classes, everything else was digital.
Mm-hmm.
Because I did not have the time to do anything traditionally. And now, I hate drawing digitally because I'm so tired. I'm like, I just want to have a pencil in my hand.
Mm-hmm.
But that class
And a
was great.
scalpel.
Color theory, it was fine. It was the first year that they had it. It was not fleshed out as of that time. That's all I have to say about the matter. I took like an ecology class, illustration markets, which the best way to describe that class is a precursor to portfolio, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
It was also just one of the like weird assortment of project classes that
It was, I think, meant to be a well-rounded, like, these are all the projects people could hire you for.
Yeah.
So to have one example of each in your portfolio.
and
But
none
then we
of
couldn't
them-
pick really our or specify what we wanted to highlight.
Yeah, like for an example, one of them was designing like a food truck. For my class, at least, was designing a food truck, and like its patrons, its menu,
Mm-hmm.
its like its design and stuff like that. And I'm like, it was fun. Did it go in my portfolio? No. But I was telling Maddie before we started recording, that was just kind of one of my lulls at school anyways. That class was just not cutting it for me. So I probably could have learned a lot more. And I know some of my friends did fantastic in that class. But it was an interesting one.
Yeah.
And then I took 3D sculpture digitally. Take it, do it. Do 3D sculpture digitally. It's so much fun. It's so daunting, but it's like, don't use Maya if you're faint of heart.
It hurts.
Don't.
It does hurt.
I used ZBrush, and it was beautiful. And I know Blender is still free as of right now.
I think so, yeah. I downloaded it. Haven't used it.
It's really fun to just play around or like take your 2D stuff and like make it in a 3D space, because like 3D printers are becoming way more accessible.
Mm-hmm.
And it was such a good class.
Yeah.
I also had like the best professor in the world teaching me that one.
A sweetheart.
So
Truly a sweetheart.
I mean, you can't really go wrong. But yeah, that was just like a really speedy run through of the classes I remember from junior year. I think I'm missing 4. I don't remember what they were. I have to go look it up.
Do some research.
Yeah.
Some deep dives.
If I don't remember it, it probably didn't have anything that was worth remembering, unfortunately.
Yeah. Which, I mean, there are those classes.
Yeah, there's
It's
some
like-
that are just there to get the credits. It just, it happens.
It feels like, yeah, the filler classes,
Mm-hmm.
those filler episodes.
Yeah.
A beach episode, you know. Like,
Yeah.
Because, like, I don't know how it is for other majors or other schools, but, like, you had to pick, like, so many credit hours from different sections, like motion
Mhm.
and 3D and, like, language arts and stuff like that. So, like, they had multiple classes in there to choose from, but you had to, one of my classes was history of witchcraft. That's what it was.
Yeah.
That was a really cool class. I learned a lot. Professor was amazing. But anyways, there are just sometimes where you're like, either all of the classes were filled up that you wanted to take,
Mhm.
and you had to just kind of settle for one, or there were none in that section that really benefited you, just like, at least in that moment. So you just kind of like, I can do this.
Yeah.
I want to pick this one. Or my advisor
Uh-huh.
said, do it.
Yeah,
So you
just
do
go
it.
for it. That's how I ended up taking 3D animation fundamentals. With no desire to animate or do 3D.
Yeah. I only heard bad things about that class.
It was a lot. Learned like 4 softwares in the span of 16 weeks. Like Maya, Unreal, Adobe Surface Painter, and another one that I don't even remember. I think it was like a storyboarding software. I don't remember what it was called.
Was it Toon Boom?
Probably.
Okay.
I don't know. It
One of them.
wasn't
There's a
clearly
couple.
wasn't helpful to what I do now.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, do you want to talk a bit about your senior year?
Oh,
And then
yeah.
I'll dive into mine.
sounds great. So my senior year was a bit of a shit show. Just because I wanted to graduate in the 4 years, including my 1 year at Ashland, and not all of my credits transferred from Ashland. So I had to take on these extra classes in a short amount of time. And these were all studio classes, except for like maybe one. And so a studio class, oh yeah, we should probably talk about
Yeah, I
that.
was just going to say.
As a studio class is, you are in a room with a professor for 3 hours twice a week. So that's already 6 hours of your week you're in class. And then you have a few hours of outside work per studio class. And I was doing like 6 of those.
Yeah.
So I was like going from like 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. and then, oh God, I don't remember what my other day was, but it was a lot. And I learned a lot, but girl, like I said earlier, I was not pleasant to be around. I was so tired.
I'd catch you, like, I'd be going to one class, and you're, like, run down the stairs to go to your next
Mhm.
class. And I'd be like, oh, how's your day going? And you're like, I gotta go to this class. And you're so sad.
I'm so
Oh,
sorry.
it was fine. I was just like, oh, gosh. I was like, okay. I'm like, well, I'll see you around. I hope it goes well. And you're like, it's not. And then you left. I mean, it was mostly for 3D.
Oh,
So that was a very understandable reaction.
Yeah, I normally am not grouchy. That just took it out of me, yo.
I mean, that many classes plus a not great class on top of it that
And-
requires the majority of your time.
Yes. And being an RA.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like my junior and senior year, I was an RA. So I was on all the time because people knew that I was an RA and
Yeah.
they would come to me with problems, which I know that was my job, but like every time I stepped out of my room or even while I was in my room, people had access to me and it was a lot. I don't regret the job at all. I've met so many amazing people,
Mm-hmm.
but it was a lot.
It's yet another time of not having that separation of home and
Yes.
work and school,
Yeah.
and it's all there.
Yeah, I had the experience of living on campus at Ashland, being a commuter at CCAD, and then being an RA at CCAD. So I have like the trifecta. I got to try all 3.
Yeah.
RA was probably my favorite out of the 3 because I was there.
Yeah.
And I was present and involved in the community, which helped. But anyway, I digress. That was part of my senior year, but it wasn't. The classes took up the majority of the time.
I will say, just to touch on that, if you can be involved in the college community as much as possible, highly recommend.
It helps.
When there's activities going on, or like RAs are putting on events, or there's something free, like if your school has a gallery and there's an opening, if you're there, go to it.
You should.
If you're only there for 5 minutes, you're there for 5 minutes. You saw cool art, met cool people, whatever. Or you're there for a couple hours making connections. Like, you don't know what's going to happen. Connections are important. Just go to those events.
Take a chance on yourself.
Yeah.
Like, trust yourself to, even if it's awkward, to do it. Like,
even if none of your friends are there.
Yeah. You grow so much just by... Literally, when I went to Big Boo, which was a Halloween a party that the school put on, I went by myself because I wanted to see if I could do it, if I could do that by myself. And then I saw Peyton, and we ended up talking the entire time.
Yeah.
And we walked home. We walked home together and that was like where our friendship got really like solidified.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. We had classes for like a month and a half together up at that point, but we were kind of just like acquaintance friend level, like getting to know each other.
We hadn't hung out yet.
Yes.
Essentially.
And we walked like 30, 40 minutes home.
In the dark.
In the dark.
Costumes. Like,
yeah, that was
an adventure.
It was crazy. It was a good
It
night.
was so much fun.
We did a photo shoot in the parking garage with the lights.
Girl, we looked so hot.
We did.
Like, that was so fun.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, just the like taking the chance. And I know I almost didn't go because one of our friends, Kale, was going to go, but I think he forgot his ID or something, so he couldn't go inside. And I was like, I don't really know anybody, and I was going with some people that I kind of knew, and I was like, everyone kind of has their clique. And then Maddie was standing all like fancy, just like leaning over the balcony at this club, like just looking out over everyone dancing, and I was like, I'm gonna go talk to her. It was like a movie. It was crazy. I was like, whoa.
I forgot that I did that. I think I was just vibing. I was like,
You looked so mysterious.
ooh, love that for me.
I know.
I'm never mysterious. Not anymore.
Oh my gosh, I can see it so clearly. Oh.
And that was still when I was in like my shaved head era.
Yeah, you were?
So, in my like all my piercings, I miss my piercings.
Are you gonna bring them back?
Well, 2 of them grew over, so
Oh.
I need to like redo them.
Oh. Well, I want to go get more piercings, so
Let's go.
we can do that. Anyways, we digress.
Anyway, anywho.
Anyways.
It's important though. Like those friendships that you build are so integral to what you make and how you live. And
I mean, we have a
like,
studio together now.
I know.
And we're doing a podcast.
I
and
know.
And
it's not just like professionally. Like, I don't know. You're
We
one of
hang
my
out.
closest friends, and like we
all the time.
we enrich each other's lives. In my humble opinion,
we've had so many really good moments.
I know.
Of like dancing to Pitbull under my like rainbow lights in my bedroom at like 2 a.m.
Yeah, just girly things.
You know how you do.
As one does to cope with art school.
You need that. You really do.
You really do. To do things that aren't art school while you're in art school.
Yeah.
It just makes you a better person, better creative. Like, it's don't just nose to grindstone. That's a phrase, right?
If it is, I haven't heard it, but I love it.
I want to take credit for it, but I can't. So, like, you can't just work all the time. There has to be a balance.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But my senior year did jewelry. Loved that. Loved the people. Loved the, like, hands-on-ness of it. I played with fire. That was terrifying. I want to be a blacksmith at some point. There's actually a blacksmith place, like, close.
Really?
Yeah, down the road.
Like classes?
I don't know.
We should find
I just
out.
saw a sign.
We can make swords for Ren Fair.
I want a sword so bad.
I know, but they're so expensive.
I know. But, like, making a sword, you know how cool that would be?
Yeah. Then I can spend all my money on a pirate hat.
You're right.
And then it works out.
Oh my god. Yeah.
Anyways. We're avid Ren Fair goers.
We are. It's just dressing up, feeling like you're in the books and movies that you love, like, with the creators that you love, like, all of it. It's just... We're magic lovers.
Yeah, drinking mead and listening to beautiful music.
Yeah.
And dancing
And just seeing people happy and...
being so creative with their outfits. You're just like, I need to be you right now.
It's so inspiring.
It's crazy.
Love it. Then I did motion for illustration, which was cool. Yeah, professor awesome.
Loved that class.
Portfolio projects was okay. I think it would have been better if we had a little more freedom.
Yes.
But yeah, none of those projects are in my portfolio right now.
Which is crazy because that's the entire point of that class.
Yeah, it's supposed to beef up your portfolio, but I just don't like any of the things I did in there.
Well, I think it's kind of contradictory to be like, this is a class to put stuff in your portfolio, but we're not going to give you like any free reign to do what you would want to be in your portfolio. And I mean, like, my professor did a good job of kind of allowing that. It was like basic prompts, but it was still a prompt that was like, still had enough meat to it that you couldn't really just go off. So that was kind of unfortunate.
That was unfortunate. Then self-promo, like Peyton talked about, loved. Then comics, as Peyton brushed up on. I did children illustration markets.
Oh, yeah.
And I love children's illustration. I think that is so much fun, and it's something I really want to get into in future and present. I have but that's to be announced later. Hint, hint. Professor, we did not agree on a lot of things, to put it politely, and I really wish, and like this kind of reigns true with a lot of these classes, is if we had a little more actual market experience with it, if we were actually talking to professionals, if we were actually like getting examples of how to reach out to people and like how to get the first job.
Yeah.
The first job in the field, in the industry that you want to work in. I feel like that was not really brushed up on. No. I will say cold emailing is annoying, but it works.
Yeah.
So finding the people that you do want to work for and just being like, hello, can I? And in a professional way, of course, that actually works sometimes. So that was probably the best advice I got from that class. And then 3D animation, that was a nightmare. But I don't really want to talk about it right now because there's too much. and then my capstone. So we had all the other majors got a full year to work on their capstone essentially, and we got 1 semester. And I created a magazine of all of the illustrations that I really loved that I did in art school to just kind of encapsulate, this is everything that I do. And then I designed a alphabet inspired by, darn it.
Darn it. We should say the camera got cut off. So if you're listening and there's a random cut where Maddie was in the middle of saying inspiration very poetically and then it stopped, it is because the camera said, I'm going to sleep.
Yeah, she died. But we didn't, so...
No, we're back.
So I was talking about my capstone and the alphabet. So the alphabet was inspired by medieval manuscripts. And that was so much fun to do. And I've done a couple alphabets since. That's something that I enjoy. And what else did we do? Oh, yes, and there was prose in there as well. So it was really just encapsulation, that's a word,
Mhm.
of my entire college career into a little magazine that I printed 20 of them, and I still have a couple like originals, but I'm also working on putting that into self-publishing that on Amazon. So that's to be here soon. It's called ABC of M.
Such a good title.
Thank you.
I love it.
It's the ABCs of me, you know? Me in art school.
Yeah.
There's a lot of styles in there. I've explored a lot, as you should, as one does.
Mhm.
That was so much fun, though. Layout design. Because that's what I went to school for. I wanted to do book design.
Mhm.
And I have done that now, and
Yeah.
I want to keep doing that. But getting into the publishing industry is hard.
We don't really tell you that.
No. And we'll talk about more about jobs and searching and what we got in the next episode, just in case you were curious as to what the next monologue will be.
Yeah, this is the in art school, that is the out of art school.
Exactly. But that was my senior year in a nutshell.
Yeah.
If you want to dive into yours.
Yes, just like a very quick go through. I also had the portfolio class. I took motion for illustration at that time too, which Maddie already talked about. I think these are both my senior year. I might have mixed them up, but I took 2 like hands-on traditional media classes for my electives. So I took ceramics and then I took printmaking, which might have changed like the whole trajectory of how I view art that I like to do and want to do. Going from being like everything's on paper, everything's on the computer, to then holding clay in your hand and making it into, you know, these funky shapes and stuff that are like, they're around the studio now and they're all throughout my house. And then printmaking was just, I don't know, working with your hands. It was amazing, and I wish I had done it sooner, because then I could have used the labs for longer.
Yes.
I did printmaking my very last semester, and I was like, oh my gosh, now I have like these intaglio prints and these collagraphs, which are, I won't really go into detail, but they're kinds of plates that to print with, you need like a press for it. A big, heavy press that I don't have. So
expensive and
yeah. So now the plates that had, you know, this ability to be reused over and over again, I don't have the ability to do that right now. Maybe in the future, but not right now. So big takeaway, if you can do a class that involves like a special lab at your school and you have the ability to take it sooner rather than later, I would recommend it.
yes.
So you can then continue to use those labs in the future and become friends with those professors as much as possible, so that they let you come back. Because my ceramics professor was amazing and would be like, you can come join us at any time. With like our clay or your clay. Like you
That's
can
so
use the
sweet.
glaze, you can do what you would like. You know, just don't trash the place.
Which you're known for.
That's what I do best. I think those were like my 2 most memorable classes by far, besides like capstone. Just because I'd never done anything working with my hands. And we'll talk about in the next episode, but then we did like a job that was involving like fabrication. And then I was like, okay, yeah, this kind of solidifies it. I would love, like, if I can get into that niche job, that'd be amazing. Like, movie prop fabrication.
Yes.
Stop. I would love it.
Her stuff is really cool. You should look at it. It's
Thank
online.
you. I don't go to my website until I fix it. It's kind of gross right now. I don't have good pictures.
Well, we can change that.
Yeah, well, I'll get better ones. I'll take some here. It'll be nice. I took CSI Forensics.
Oh, yeah.
So good. Professor was amazing. She was literally Abby from NCIS. If you've watched it, you know what I'm talking about. I loved her. We just talked about bones and how to tell how long somebody has been dead for.
Sick.
And yeah, Loved it. It was a great break from capstone. I
Yeah.
could breathe. And then I just did I did storyboard. Don't take storyboard classes your senior year if you can handle it.
Yeah.
Storyboarding is a lot of work. It doesn't feel like it's going to be, but then you realize you're drawing individual frames. They're kind of chicken scratch. They don't need to be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
But you're drawing so many individual frames. Like, I did a 3-minute short, all storyboard, and oh my gosh, I hated it. I had to restart like halfway through because I wanted to do something else, and then I was told no.
No.
So, well, then I did that instead. I hated that class. We got to watch like Studio Ghibli films, which was nice.
Mm-hmm.
But besides that, didn't you have to have at least one of those classes a semester that you're like,
Why did I do this to myself?
I could have been happier,
Yeah.
but it's okay. And then capstone, which I'm not going to go super in depth on because it's a lot, and we can talk about it later for sure. I did a pitch Bible / art book / conglomerate of stuff from a story that I had been cooking up for like over a year. And that's another class I forgot about. I did YA fiction
Oh yeah.
writing. That was a good class. That was a great class. If you're planning on doing work on like a story or something, I recommend taking like a writing class.
Absolutely.
And then just using your story as like your final.
Mm-hmm.
So then you're spending all the time working on it and you're fleshing it out and you kind of like put yourself a
You're
step
getting credit
ahead.
for it and
Yeah.
getting feedback
Yes.
from
It was-
professionals and
It was so good. It was amazing.
focus group.
Yeah. And I really just like used that to plug into my art book. It was a 48-page book with, I think I ended up putting in over like 70 illustrations into it.
She was beefy. She's beautiful.
It was a
She
lot.
sizzles.
It was a lot. It was kind of a breakdown of like the process of it, and then like developmental art and kind of like a breakdown of characters and location, and then where I wanted to go in the future. And the whole idea for my capstone was to have a tangible pitch Bible to pass off to studios and be like, this is my story, I'd love for you to do something with it. I think I talked about this in the last episode, but then I ended up being like, nah, it's mine.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to make it a video game. So that was my capstone. I put so many hours into that thing.
And it shows.
Thank you. So I want to redo it and fix it up with like the new artwork that I'm getting while I'm working on the game. Like instead of it being a pitch Bible, it is an actual art book for the behind the scenes of the game.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was my senior year. That was
A lot.
it was a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It was a busy time. It was a fun time. My senior year is my favorite.
Yeah.
It was an absolute favorite time. Because then you've like made those friends, you've made those connections.
Mm-hmm.
You are not so tired because you know where to put your energy.
Yes. You finally figured out the balance. And like the world was a little more normal
Yeah.
at that time, so it did feel like a standard college experience again for the most part. And you were just a little bit older, a little bit wiser, and you knew, like you said, how to allocate your time and
Yeah.
what was worth, like, well, should I spend an all-nighter on this to get an A when I could just take a B and work on something that I'm actually going to use post-grad? Or so it's just like making those decisions were important. Like, grades aren't everything.
They really aren't.
Like, I really I busted my butt to get some of those good grades, and I'm like, why did I do that?
Yeah, I've had like job applications ask for your GPA,
Mm-hmm.
but I have not seen any like anything really come out of it.
No, or like any requirements. Like,
Yeah, like you needed to do well during this, or like they're not asking for your grades.
yeah.
Hello.
Whoops.
It's echoing.
That was my phone. We can edit that out.
That's fine. It happened last episode, so it's just the repeating.
Whoopsie.
Hi.
I'm a chatty Kathy.
But yeah, what was I saying? I don't remember. But what I was going to say
Get it
next was it was nice being like you know where your friends are.
Mm-hmm.
You know the people you want to talk to. You know people you don't want to talk to.
Yeah, you kind of figured those out pretty quickly.
It took me a second.
Really? To
Yeah,
figure out who you didn't like?
Well, I know who I didn't like. But those ended up changing later into being like, oh, there's more people that I don't like.
Oh, I see.
Freshman year was a lot of like, I don't know what to do with myself. And then COVID. And then after that, it was like, it was a lot of finding people that I did like.
Mm-hmm.
Like, my portfolio class and my capstone class were all the same people, and it was beautiful, and they were all my friends. So we all got to hang out all the time and be like, yay, you're doing so good.
That encouragement, that uplift, like, there's nothing better, really.
And that's why the space is so nice.
Yeah, being in a supportive, creative environment.
Not just your bedroom and being like, I did good. I'm gonna post it to Instagram now and see if anyone sees it.
Yeah, because it's a hit or miss in the socials.
It is. I don't like it.
I don't either.
I don't post much anymore.
I really don't either. I'm trying to do more, but it just feels like for all the time that I put in, I don't know how much is happening. Yeah. I'm trying to like keep up social media like while in school. That was a lot. That was difficult.
Yeah, and there were like some, I think I had 2 social media projects.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, they're like, you're making these pieces to be posted to your social media. You have to post to your social media.
Like, so awkward.
Yeah,
Being
it
forced
looked
to do
forced.
that. Yeah.
Like, it didn't look good because then you did that and then you just like ghosted your account. After
Radio
that.
silence.
Yeah, because
in between those projects.
and they were kind of rushed projects.
Yeah, so it didn't really showcase, at least for me, like what I wanted to present.
Yeah.
To the world.
It's just like I have to post something for a grade. Most of those I deleted after the fact.
Oh yeah.
Once I got the grade, it was gone.
I mean, I've deleted everything off of my account probably at least 5 times, or just archived it.
There's a lot of stuff I need to go back and probably archive. I've kept so much up for so long.
Yeah, I've just been like, I need to purge.
Yeah, well, it's funny because you can tell how little I post because if you go through my Instagram, it's like couple posts, Inktober, few posts, Inktober. It's like, dude, those were years apart. What are you doing?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really funny. Like, okay. Because I didn't really do anything that year.
Yeah.
It's hard to post stuff that you do for classes, too.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes you don't like it.
Yeah.
You don't like the prompt. You don't
Or
like how much time you had to do it.
It's hard to find a good way to post it because you spend so much time on it. You want it to look good when you show it off, and then it's like, oh, it destroyed the quality, and it's too large to fit, so it's cropped. And
That's stupid cropping on social media.
I'm like, I do a lot of landscape, like, dimension pieces.
Mm-hmm.
They don't fit.
Yeah, that's hard to showcase on unless you do like a scrolly thingy.
Yeah.
And that's
I'm gonna
not
get
always
ArtStation.
too- Ooh.
I've heard, as long as the drama's done with ArtStation.
I was
I
gonna
know
say
there
there's a
was,
bunch of AI
yeah, I think
scandal with that.
I don't know if it got resolved. If
No.
it did, I will go to it. But if it didn't, I'll find a way.
Yeah, we'll keep you all posted.
Yeah. We'll have a couple of socials open for this account too, which
Yeah,
yeah.
we will. So
We'll
give
talk-
us a follow.
Yeah.
Give us a like. Give us a comment.
If they're set up by the time this episode comes out, it'll be in our description.
Yeah.
If not, we'll talk about it
Mhm.
later.
We'll link them, even
Yeah.
if there's nothing on there yet. Just know there will be.
Eventually.
Eventually.
We'll get there.
We're building this brick by brick.
Pepper.
By brick.
Pepper.
Well, thanks for operating with us.
This was Art School Dissections. I'm Peyton Hunt.
And I'm Maddie Gabhart.
Take care of your guts.
make something cool.
Or bad.
Bye.
I'm so excited to see that in post.